Now I buggered up this door for this Rhino. I'm going to strip the paint. I don't have any simple green. I'm going to use brake fluid. Keep it in a well-labeled mason jar. This has been filtered out a couple times, but I have probably stripped 40 minis with this fluid, maybe a bit more, and a lot of random bits. Put it in, don't let it splash. You don't want this on other painted surfaces because it will strip the paint. I seal it back up tightly, and when I get home from work, we'll take a look. So the Rhino door has been sitting in the brake fluid now for overnight, so close to 20 hours. Be careful that you don't get any brake fluid or anything else. Take some tweezers, pull out, and shake off as much excess fluid, and you'll see that it's all blistered. And I will now take this and use a toothbrush I keep for that to clean it and scrub it off. Now so I take the toothbrush and scrub it off. All the ultramarine blue and the Ilian dark sun and the Vonic brown that was on here is coming right off. Now this is actually the first time I've stripped a mini with the primer, the Krylon Ultra Flat Camel. And this primer is good. It doesn't seem to come off as easily as most, but you can leave it at that because that primer was very thin. There's not a lot of detail on a Rhino door, so I wouldn't be concerned about, I'm not too concerned about priming over a little bit of primer. It's not a big deal. If there's lots of detail, I would do another dunk, but actually this is starting to come off completely. If it's a flat surface, the only thing, if you prime over primer that's been sitting in something to strip the paint, your adhesion may not be good. I would definitely let it dry for a day before you try priming again, because it may not work properly, but this is coming off quite nicely. So a little bit of action with the fingernail. Toothbrush just isn't quite rigid enough, I guess. Alright, so that door's been successfully stripped and now reprimed. My argument why I use brake fluid instead of simple green, which I've tried, and or Detrol, which isn't readily available here. In Europe and Australia I know it is, but Canada, you could find it at some drugstores. Simple green Detrol costs a lot more than brake fluid. If you own a vehicle, chances are you have some brake fluid in a jug of brake fluid next to a jug of motor oil or something in your garage, so you already have it. You don't have to go out and buy something else. It lasts a lot longer. Like I've mentioned, this jar I've had for 2 years. I've added up, maybe added to it 100 milliliters. I've added a little more. I've filtered it a couple times with a coffee filter. It lasts, and it also eats through more types of paint than simple green. And I know simple green, in my experience, does not touch something that's been painted with, say, testers, enamels, like these good old model paints. This Humbrol, yeah, some stuff it doesn't seem to touch. Some Humbrol colors it's gone through, some hasn't touched. But all your crafter acrylics, all your testers, Model Master, Vallejo, GW, Reaper, even the stuff I make with the matte medium that I mix with pigments, ink pigments, eats through no problem, strips it no problem. So basically I'm saving money, I'm not consuming more product to go, because I mean now you're going to be throwing out another container like your simple green container. As long as you're not dumping brake fluid down the drain, dispose of the stuff properly. One thing I guess I could probably do a little more often, which I didn't do in the video, just because I wasn't going to be able to show you properly. But you can wipe off the mini with a paper towel before you start scrubbing it, and then dispose of that properly. But anyways, that's my 2 cents. And but if you choose to strip with brake fluid, go right ahead. Otherwise, I mean, you can use Detrol. There's nothing wrong with it, or simple green. It's just that if you already have brake fluid, save some money. Don't go out and buy something else, because you probably also have a pickle jar or something that you can store it in and keep it. And just keep it well labeled. Stuff for unpainting is what my box says, and I have a toothbrush, the brake fluid, a pair of tweezers, and a skewer for fishing the stuff out. And I keep that separate. Don't use it for anything else, and I'm good to go. See you again.